I think I'd be a little careful, Lex. I don't think that packaging is going to contain that kaiju. Here's a look at McFarlane Toys, DC Multiverse, the Superman movie, Lex Luthor, and Baby Kaiju. Tall, thin, and bald, and always impeccably dressed, brilliantly despicable billionaire Lex Luthor's God complex is matched only by his malicious disdain for Superman. And now the head of Luthor Corps, with limitless funds and tech at his disposal, he has invented the means by which he can multiply his hatred for the Kryptonian superhero and banish him from Earth forever. Baby Kaiju, a genetically grown creature, is unleashed into Metropolis. Increasing in size and at an advanced rate, he soon becomes a threat to the entire city. That baby kaiju reminds me of a sea monkey. Well, except for sea monkeys don't last as long. Sea monkeys you also have to feed yeast, and sea monkeys technically don't grow to large, massive sizes and destroy entire cities. Either way, though, let's take the tape measure now and see how tall the new Superman Lex Luthor stands. Then, of course, we'll also have a look at the baby kaiju. Taking the tape measure as promised, Lex Luthor is going to stand at 7 inches in height. That works out to be a figure that's 18 centimeters tall. Going considerably smaller, down to there, the kaiju is only going to be standing at 2 inches in height, or roughly about 5 centimeters tall. While maybe not making as much sense when we had him displayed with Cavill, at least when you're displaying Nicholas Holt's Lex Luthor along with David Corenswet's Superman, sizing really isn't as much of the issue. Nicholas Holt actually stands at 6'3", David Corenswet is 6'4", so at least the sizing of these two figures make a little bit more sense. Unlike that Superman, though, this is at least being released as a deluxe theatrical edition. That means then that Lex Luthor gets a few extra frills that the other Superman never had before. Though in the upcoming review, we will also be looking at the deluxe theatrical edition of Superman that's going to then give him a few extra things that the basic release of that David Superman never really had before. Onto, though, the accessories that come included with this version of Lex Luthor. First, the figure does come included with a display stand. It really isn't that much different at all from the one that we got with the Superman. It's a little bit maybe darker in color, but the plastic does change from time to time. I mean, it still has the DC logo branded down below, still has the pegs off to the far corner. This version of Luthor also does come included with a sort of an illustrated card rather than source material to bring then in Superman's. One thing I do wish, though, is that they could have kept the border around this. Now, again, we're only comparing really the DC Multiverse basic release of Superman against what would then be a theatrical card. The theatrical card of Superman, I would imagine, would work the same, where it's not going to have also a white border. If you look at the back of the cards, too, the cards actually look very more similar on the back. The real name, funny enough, though, for Lex Luthor is N.A. Why does it say N.A.? We already know that his name is Lex Luthor. Baby Kaiju, I don't think really has a name other than just being called Baby Kaiju. Why is his real name N.A.? I'll leave it to you to decide. Though Time Jumper, who's already seen the movie, will probably already tell me, well, that's not really Lex Luthor. That's a clone. Oh, just give it away to everybody. I don't think he's a clone, or is he? On to, though, the rest of the accessories that come included with Lex Luthor. The figure does have a little baby kaiju. First of all, I was surprised that this kaiju actually did possess some poseability. You can take the arms and you can move them back and forth. I mean, really not by much, though. That's about as far as you can really go. You can also rotate the head back and forth, too. Now, there is a mega figure version of the baby kaiju, not so little anymore. I would love to get my hands on that one as well. I would imagine it's probably going to be very similar to the look of this baby kaiju. But again, like we find out in the movie, it's going to start to grow in size. It's obviously not destroying much in the way of cities right now, unless you have like little tiny Lego buildings. Then it would be able to smash through that. All in all, though, it's a nice little included accessory. I do kind of wish, though, that Luthor could have come included with some hand accessories rather than just also a baby kaiju. To be fair, though, he does also have some swappable hands. Right now, he does have, I guess, sort of somewhat gripping hands. He does also have a closed fist, and he also has a pointing hand, which is actually very similar to the hand that he has over here. It's just, it's flipped onto this side. So he has this kind of hand, and then he has, which is actually funny, though, because, like, if you look at Corenswet's Superman, he had actually a very similar style of hand. I know it's not the same. If you did want to change out the hand, though, it's just a case of holding on to his forearm, just popping off the peg, popping the hand off from the peg, and replacing then with a hand. There you go. So these hands are now somewhat close to one another. I think I probably will just end up having him display. I don't really think that like these hands change all that much for his posture or the way he's standing. There is actually rather something interesting about my version of Lex Luthor. Should we talk about it first, then talk about his heads? Okay, we'll do that. Getting this guy out of the packaging, I don't know if you noticed at the beginning, but you may already notice it now. I've got this kind of rippled area of his shoulder. I don't know how it got there. My guess is the way that they put it in the packaging, they probably lifted up the shoulder by accident. So if you're like putting it down, the clamshell surrounding that probably would have lifted up the shoulder, and he's spent all this time with the shoulder plastic peeled or curled up like this. So unfortunately mine is a little bit damaged. This side isn't bad at all. I mean, it's pretty conformed to the rest of his shoulder, but unfortunately this side, he's got this big air hole. He could blow right in there and keep him cool. Yeah, I'm going to see if maybe I can heat this up just a little bit. The thing that's really a detriment to this figure is the fact that all the top of his torso is very soft plastic. Soft on the front, squishy on the sides, and that is also one thing that's contributing to the fact he's got himself now free air conditioning in the tops of his suits. Again, I'm going to see if I can take a hairdryer, soften it up just a few passes, and then I'll see if I can hold down this and cool it down so that it looks like this and it doesn't look like this. To look at this, though, I can't help but wonder, why wouldn't they have just used harder plastic? Does it benefit at all for this figure having this? I mean, I can understand maybe with the shoulders using a softer plastic then may allow his arms to rotate all the way around, but it comes at the price, though, of his torso being so very squishy. The head sculpt, though, for Luthor isn't bad. Sort of in the way that I don't like Corn Sweat's Superman suit. I feel like Nicholas Hoult is a good look to Luthor, but every single time the guy talks, I feel like his voice is too high. I don't know, maybe it's just me. He does also have, though, 3 alternate head sculpts, being that this guy is a theatrical edition. So he has this version face. Then he has one that's very similar, which is this one right here. It's funny, though, enough that I'm looking at actually both these heads, because I think that this one looks more like Nicholas. What do you think? Also, I couldn't help but also notice, too, that his chin seems a little longer on the alternate than it does on the original. I think for me, I'm going to probably display him either with this head sculpt or the other option. The figure does also have a smiling face. All of these head can be swapped out. You just hold on to the torso, as squishy as it may be. Pop the head off from the peg. Find the head that you want to then use. If you want to go with this one, or you want to go with the smiling one? Okay, we'll go with the smiling one. In preparation to this, I also went in there and heated up the socket. I had a hard time earlier trying to get this onto the ball peg. Even now, really have to fight to get that on there. Oh, give me strength. There we go. And then it's on his neck. Again, I like the look of the smiling Luthor. I don't know, he kind of does come across like he's a little bit of a man-child. I shouldn't even say that to man-childs out there. If you're a man-child and you still enjoy watching these reviews, despite my feelings of Lex Luthor looking like a man-child, I apologize in advance. Again, looking at his suit, the suit looks pretty good, though. I mean, the suit and the vest are all one piece, and the one piece is a very soft plastic. His arms, at least, and his legs, at least, are a harder plastic. The coloring of his legs aren't really quite the same color as the purple, but I think it's pretty close. Now, if you had another suited character, whether it maybe be the Scarecrow, it could also have been maybe the Court of the Owls. We've also got a set of that with Nightwing. You probably could easily then use the torso piece, or really the whole entire body, and then just use Lex Luthor's head sculpt and swap it around that way. From what at least I remember, I think Scarecrow had a few issues where he had too much paint built up. They painted across the tops of his shoulders for reasons unknown. Maybe I might end up using the Court of Owls body for the alternate head sculpt, because again, I have, like, you know, rolling the dice here. I've got a few extra heads for Luthor. Maybe I might just end up using one of those. Use this and then use it with the body of the Court of the Owls. But again, like, overall, like, the body looks pretty good. I'm looking, though, at the legs, and I can't help but think that we've seen this before. A Joker? Maybe a Joker? Maybe it was like the Heath Ledger Joker. Really should have brought that figure in for comparisons. But overall, I think the sculpting holds up generally well. I think, though, like, the bicep is maybe a little too puffy here, where it looks like he's barely fitting into the suits. Very massive in the biceps. Luthor, I didn't realize you were working out. But for the figure's articulation, yeah, we're going to go back to the head sculpt here. The head's going to rotate all the way around. I don't know why I was reluctant to do that. Head's going to look up, a lot higher, though, than David's. Head's going to look down. You can also move it back and forth as well. As for his arms, now, again, you could maybe make the argument that the reasoning why they made the plastic soft like this for his torso was so that the arms could do what they're doing right now, and that they can also do this. Now, again, you can get a T pose, but I don't know. I still feel like using a harder plastic would have worked a little bit better for the suits. He has a bicep swivel there, bicep swivel here. He has an elbow joint here. Double hinge, the same on this side too. Hands rotate also all the way around. You can hinge them back and forth. The softer plastic does wonders, though, for Luthor being able to rotate his... He can do the twist all night long. Rotate it forward and back, side to side. Legs do split out. You can take the legs and move them forward. You can move them back. There's a very mild, very, very mild swivel at the top of the thigh. More so, much more mobility in the knees because he has a double hinge there. One thing I will say, though, I want to make sure I kind of point out all the details. The top of his leg, the lower end of his leg are more of a dark purple plastic. Yet the knee that's dividing the two villages together, you can see is a little bit more lighter of a purple plastic. It's pretty close, but I mean, now that you look at it, you probably can see it's not really quite the same purple. But again, he does have a double knee bend there. Of course, you've got the articulation where it counts his ankle. You can rock it back and forth there as well. And Nicholas Holt's Lex Luthor does also have toe articulation. It's a nice looking Luthor. I mean, I'm a little obviously bummed out by the fact that getting this guy the packaging, even when I opened up the box, because I ordered this guy online. I mean, good luck even finding any of these as a Canadian collector in stores. Forget about it. However, though, I did order this guy online. Even when I kind of opened up the box the first time, I was kind of taking out the figures I was buying. I did notice, though, that Lex Luthor's shoulder seemed like it was a little curled, a little frayed, a little peeled. And I'm like, maybe it's just the plastic around it. Maybe it's, again, like maybe it's distorting the way that the figure looks. No, actually, my shoulder on Lex Luthor was, again, you can see it right there. It's peeled up. He's getting free air conditioning. If you have picked up this Lex Luthor, let me know down below in the comments section if you've also had similar issues where, like, his shoulder is curled. Again, one of the big things about that is using a softer plastic like that. It is going to be like holding that form. So if it was put in the package the wrong way, it's going to stay that way, even whether I take the packaging open or even if I open it or not. Now, again, with these two figures, there's a bit of a price difference. Lex Luthor, as a deluxe theatrical edition, sells for, I think, about like $8 more. If I'm kind of looking at the price of what I paid for Superman, I want to say that he was more around that $32 price, or maybe even Lex Luthor was $44. So it could have even been a $10 difference between the two. It was also a $10 difference as well with the deluxe theatrical Superman that we will also keep plugging that we're going to be looking at in an upcoming review as well. The theatricals do seem to be selling for about $10 more. $10 at least, though, gives for Lex Luthor not only a baby kaiju, but a couple of other head sculpts that you can also display, not only with this body, but if you happen to have another suited DC Multiverse figure, why not just decapitate the head on that one and use one of these Luthor heads instead? I'm glad, at least for the different asking price, Lex Luthor is justified by all the things the figure comes included with. To add another $10 or so on top of what a standard DC Multiverse figure would be, you'd hope, though, that he would have just more than a baby kaiju. Having that he had 2 extra additional head sculpts and some swappable hands, I think myself can justify why the figure is asking for more. Even again, when we look at the theatrical Superman, having 3 swappable face plates, then he's also going to have Crypto. Yeah, I think I could say that that's enough for me to spend the extra $10 or so to get this figure. Granted, though, again, I had to order these ones online. I mean, the first thing when I first took Lex Luthor out of the packaging, I sort of first looked at and I thought, okay, maybe again, like the way that the clamshell's kind of squished against his shoulder, maybe it's making it look a lot more worse than what it actually is. No, getting Lex Luthor out of the packaging, his shoulder was curled like that. A lot of it is just, again, soft plastic plus forcing the figure into the clamshell equals sort of a frayed shoulder. I'm hoping, though, that it's not going to be an issue that's with all the Lex Luthors, because, again, using softer plastic like that could result in having free air conditioning on the side of his shoulder. If you have picked up Lex Luthor, let me know down below in the comments section if your figure has that same issue. Of course, we could have fixed this issue right away by just making the figures using a harder plastic, but I think making a softer torso probably could be contributing to why the figure has much easier time moving his shoulders out. It just means that with that goes the trade-off that, unfortunately, on my figure, he's a little bit frayed. What do you guys think of Lex Luthor? Let me know down below in the comment section. Do you also feel like Nicholas Hoult is a good choice for Lex Luthor? Ideally, though, I would have really preferred to have an older Lex Luthor. I can understand, though, with the changing of the guards, they also want to bring in younger stars, because we'd like to hope that if Superman does well in theaters, we're going to see, though, the superhero and the supervillain clash back and forth in future subsequent sequels. I could maybe get behind that. I still can't get behind the fact that I think he sounds a little too light. Nicholas Hoult, I don't think really has that kind of deep Lex Luthor voice. But again, what do I know? I'm just a deep-sounding old guy that's working behind the camera here. But again, if you guys did enjoy this video, yeah, do it a solid. Throw it a like. You guys want to stick around for more so? I hope so. We are wrapping up things right now for Lex Luthor, but coming through the pipeline, going thump, 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 thump. There's going to be a couple more Superman movie figure reviews coming your way for the rest of this week, so I hope you guys are coming back for those. As always, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.